welcome back to Campfire Confidential. We're going to gear review post-Camino, which is actually more important because now we know what worked and what didn't work.
Yeah, so there were some hits and misses. So my biggest miss was my Z-Packs chest pouch. Z-Packs says it's water resistant, and it actually did a better job of keeping the water in than keeping the water out. I didn't use double protection, and I destroyed a camera in the process, but I really hope this would be a useful piece of gear. It is, but I highly recommend that you use 2 layers of protection, the outer bag and an inner bag, for anything that's valuable inside this pouch.
To balance this out a little bit, Honu and Haiku Master also had the front utility packs, and they didn't get any water.
Theirs worked fine.
Yeah, but they had the black fabric, not the gray fabric. Yeah. I think that might have made a difference.
It might have been that I was in and out of it a lot too.
Yeah, and your bag is older. You put some miles on.
Yeah. But
that was tragic.
That was a big miss. So how about you?
I knew it was a luxury item the whole time, but in actual fact, this 12-ounce towel, my big luxurious towel, I only used it twice, and for as little as I used it, I could have been just fine with maybe a hand towel sized, one of those pack light towels.
Yeah, I would call that a miss too. Remember in the pre-video I talked about my rain pants? They stayed in my pack the entire time, even in Galicia where we were getting drenched.
Yeah, 4 days of rain.
Never came out. So if you're going to take rain pants, really light ones, these are an older pair that I've been hauling around for a long time, but on the Camino, I'd say leave the rain pants home.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also in Galicia, those 4 days of rain, I discovered that while my cashmere gloves were nice and warm, they didn't protect my hands from water, and my skin actually got waterlogged to the point where when I tried to pull out my credential at the albergue, my hands were soaking the paper of the document. So I would go with Gore-Tex gloves instead.
Any other big misses?
Oh yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, well, I didn't need these.
The entire time.
That was silly. I thought I would use a bottle bandit because when we've hiked 620 miles on the Appalachian Trail, I used a bottle bandit to hold my smart water bottle right here where I could get to it easily. Over the course of all those hikes, I've actually got the flexibility now to reach back and pull my own water bottle out of the pocket on the side of my backpack. So I carried this and I didn't use it. I did not use my sit pad. I carried it the whole time. It doesn't weigh much, but I didn't use it at all. I did put it under him the day he got sick. We spread out our pads so he could rest during lunch.
So it's a near miss.
I wouldn't bring it again. I would just leave that at home. You know, just don't sit in the water. But I will take it on the Appalachian Trail because that's a different situation.
Yeah.
They don't have chairs.
Right.
I brought 2 of these icebreaker short sleeve shirts. One was to hike in, one was to sleep in. I did not need the second one, so I would have left that at home. And we're both going to talk about this one.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the Columbia shirt.
So I brought this along for sun protection because we were in the sun an awful lot. But after about 3 days, it started to accumulate the odor of the trail.
It didn't take 3 days.
It smelled horrible.
Did not take 3 days.
You couldn't wash it out.
Yeah.
You just couldn't wash the smell out. It didn't matter whether you put it in a washing machine or hand washed it.
Yeah.
It's a big miss. It gives you sun protection, and I suppose for day hikes it would be fine, but for a long distance hike, I wouldn't take it again.
Well, I've got an alternative to this shirt for sun protection, and it's one of my hits, so I'm going to get to that in a minute or two.
Mine too.
My last miss was that I collected stuff along the way. I kept the cork from our champagne bottle in Paris. I kept a lot of little things. And I bought souvenirs along the way, which was stupid because by the time we got to Santiago, they had everything there. So, what do you think that weighs?
I have no idea. You carried an awful lot of stuff.
I carried this the whole time. Oh, yeah, never use these kind of bags. Nobody likes that. So it's, maybe about 12 ounces. But you add that to my luxurious towel, and that's a pound and a half I could have gotten rid of.
Stuff you wanted.
Yeah. So just buy it in Santiago. All those souvenirs. Pretty much everything in the backpack was a good performer, except the things we just talked about. But we want to talk about a couple things that were just outstanding, and we would definitely go with them again. Highlights.
So my first highlight, right on top of my head, my Tilly's hat was part of my sun protection system and kept me medium dry half the time, but kept the sun out of my face, off my ears, and off my neck, and big hit.
Yeah, that was great. For sun protection, instead of the Columbia shirt, I recommend these Icebreakers long sleeve shirts. And this is the one that survived the trip.
We both used them for sun protection. Long
As strange as it sounds, even on a day when it's 85 degrees, this long sleeve, lightweight wool shirt is perfect. We wore these shirts, I would say, 90% of the time on the trail. And when it was cold, it was good protection. This is a definite must.
Icebreaker, big hit.
Yeah. Easy to wash, easy to dry. The other part of my wardrobe that I loved was my Columbia Just Right pants. I wore these in Paris, I wore them in Santiago, I wore them everywhere in between. I wore them every single day. And they survived, they look good enough to be on the plane on the way home. Oh.
I said this never comes out of my backpack, but I think after about 4 or 5 days, this buff was around my neck because it gave the back of my neck and my neck sun protection. And when I added that to the Icebreaker, I didn't get sunburn after that. And so always have one with you, the buff, the multi-tool of trail hiking.
Seems silly to bring something that probably should have gone to Goodwill, but I brought my cashmere sweater, and it's just an ordinary ancient cashmere sweater, pilled and worn, and maybe even has a hole in it. I don't care. This thing was solid gold. It doesn't weigh very much, and it looked pretty smart, I thought, with a nice jaunty scarf.
It looked good.
So that was a definite win. In fact, Haiku Master was sort of wishing he had one too.
Yeah, I think he was.
So this was my mid layer.
So hiding in my Sea to Summit waterproof bag, which I'm using for almost everything that goes in my pack because it's only water resistant, is another big hit, and that's my Arc'teryx puffy coat. We both took ours in the rain in Galicia when these got wet. They still kept us medium warm, and that was enough to make it comfortable and enjoyable.
And this was an upgrade from the Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisperer, which is a down jacket, and down has to be protected from the water.
I talked about my cool linen cotton shirt and the cool convertible trousers, the Renegades. These were a big hit. The linen shirt was wearable and comfortable. It was in museums in Paris, in cathedrals in Spain, just about every bar we went to in cities, and it was my travel wear. So this cool system was really exceptional.
You looked really smart everywhere you went. And it didn't stink.
Right, and I would wear it again.
Yeah.
In fact, I wear it all the time.
I was surprised because it is a cotton linen blend that it wasn't all just a mess of wrinkles, but it dried quickly and it looked good.
Made it easy.
I love my belt bag. I love having a belt bag in the front, and I use this as a purse 90% of the time. Unfortunately, it was also kind of a miss because it broke. That was my fault. I overstuffed it, and the zipper finally broke, and it broke at the worst possible moment when we were in rainy Galicia. But the nice thing was I always had my passport and my pilgrim's credentials handy with me everywhere I went. So drop my pack outside the bar, go in, and I could go ahead and get my my stamp in my credential right there at the spot. A lot of times you arrive at an albergue and they want to see your real passport as well as your credentials, so it kept both handy. And you notice I have this plastic bag. That was part of it. Even though this is a waterproof pouch, everything needs to be double bagged.
What other hits do you have? Because the hits keep coming.
I loved my rip skirt from that company in Hawaii. I said it was nylon. I think it's actually a polyester, and the wrinkles would just shake out of it. And I liked it because when we were doing laundry and my pants were in the wash, I would put on my shorts, which were my sleep shorts. Well, sometimes you don't want to run around town like a nice, like, you know, you're in Pamplona, and I don't want to run around in basically my pajamas. So I would just slip this on over my shorts, and it was great.
Worked great.
Yeah.
Always smart water bottles.
Nobody needs a Camelback. That's silly. You have to take off your pack to refill with water, and you're carrying, what, 3 liters of water that you don't need to carry. Every town pretty much has a little fountain. You can fill these just out of the fountain. Bars will fill it for you if you ask nicely.
Yeah, and just about everywhere those were a hit.
Yeah. We did not, in fact, carry our trekking poles from the U.S. because we wanted to go carry on only and have everything with us in the cabin and know that everything made it to Europe with us. So we opted not to carry our beloved trekking poles. When we got to Saint Jean, Pied-de-Port, across the street from the Pilgrim office is an outfitter, and for €20 you can buy 2 trekking poles. And we went with the basic poles, and I think they're absolutely necessary on the ascents and on the descents, and I don't think they're necessary at all on the wide open spaces. So pretty much I didn't use mine across the Meseta, but I did use them across the Pyrenees and in Galicia.
And somewhere along the way, you'll notice that mine are not matched. I got an upgrade. So I think this is the $40 pole, or €40 pole. Somebody walked away with one of my poles and left their pole. And it's got the good and proper feet on it. It's got cams.
Yeah, win.
Nice trade.
Nice trade.
Can't say enough about the Sea to Summit compression sack. Inside of this dry bag was my entire sleep system. And it compresses down to a little tiny bit and doesn't fill the pack up.
And it really is waterproof. So these were sitting in the bottom of our packs as we hiked. And on those rainy days, there was water in the bottom of our packs, but our sleep system stayed perfectly dry.
Completely dry. And then can't say enough about the insect repellent sleeping bag liners. It's the Sea to Summit Insect Shield. What I did with this when I used it, because I didn't have to use it all the time, was I would take the quilts that we bought from Costco, and I would just wrap up in the quilt and climb into the liner, and that way the quilt wouldn't roll off the bed, because they are very slippery and they'll roll away. But that combination with this flipped over pillow was an easy win. So compression sack and this insect shield sleep liner, big win.
My favorite thing was my my Walmart travel pillowcase. And the reason why it's my favorite is because in it, I kept my Costco down throw. Now, those couple of cold nights, I used my down throw as a blanket. But I think out of 36 nights or whatever, probably about 30 of them, I used this as my pillow. And when I didn't use this inside my pillowcase, I put my Arc'teryx jacket and my sweater and my socks. And a lot of times I go ahead and put my earplugs and my face mask in there too. So everything I needed for sleep was in this bag. And then when we flew home, I had a pillow on the airplane. Not that it helped, but I did. Now the last 2 things I want to talk about were things I wish I had that I didn't have. And the first one was my baseball cap. I thought taking 2 hats would be overkill, so I took a hat with me, a brimmed hat. I love that brimmed hat. It turns out I was ambivalent when I started, but it turned out I loved it because it would sit on my head and stay on my head even in wind. So when I accidentally left it in Astorga, when he asked me what I wanted for our anniversary, I said I want my hat back. And so some calls were made, some hosts were very hospitable, and by the time we got to Santiago, I had a package waiting for me at the hotel. But the reason why I wish I would have brought my baseball cap as well is not because I was going to lose my hat, but because when you're in the rain and I've got the hood pulled up, the hood keeps like sliding around across my face. But with the baseball cap on and the hood up, I get protection on my eyeglasses and I don't get raindrops on my eyeglasses. So just for the rain, I would have this. It's my favorite way of walking in the rain. don't bring toiletries from home. You really don't need them. They have, I mean, you need enough to get by for a few days, but you don't need to bring like 35 days worth of toothpaste. They have toothpaste in Spain. But, and they have, you can find shampoo everywhere you go. What you can't find is conditioner. Not everybody needs conditioner, but it turns out after 4 or 5 days of using the weird shampoos in the showers that smelled like hospital jello, I needed a conditioner, and I ended up having to buy conditioner, and they don't sell it in tiny bottles. So I think next time I would take a tiny travel bottle. I ended up taking a big bottle about like that, and having to carry it all the way from Burgos to back to Paris. And I got a good tip from Chica and Sunsets. Everybody says to wrap duct tape around your trekking poles, but what you don't know is the duct tape wrapped around your trekking poles does degrade. And I don't know how fast it degrades, but when you need it, you might not have it. So if you go to outdoor outfitters like REI, you can find these tiny rolls of duct tape. And I would recommend just putting that in your ditty bag. We did use duct tape.
We did. A lot.
So this roll was probably twice as big, but that was all we needed, just a little bit.
Too true.
So what was your absolute number one favorite item?
Ooh, that's a really hard one. I think, I have to look at the pile, but I think I would go with the hat.
The hat.
Yeah.
Okay.
It did everything it was supposed to do. It kept the sun out of my eyes, it kept the sun off my neck, it kept the sun off my face. I was going to say it.
All right.
How about you?
That sounds weird, but I think it was my Walmart pillowcase with the zipper. I think this was my favorite thing. I guess I have a thing about pillows.
You do?
I really like having a pillow that's comfortable, and I really like having 2 pillows. So I think for me, for less than $3, and I don't know what it weighs, but it's made of polyester. It doesn't weigh very much. I think this was my favorite.
Great. So those are the hits and misses from our hike on the Camino de Santiago de Compostela. I think a lot more hits than misses. It was a truly enjoyable hike.
Buen Camino.